Well, one program that came out a few years ago was called the Below 100 campaign. How many of you have heard of it? Show of hands. Okay, not a lot. Okay, very interesting. A couple of you. So this was born out of an effort that we actually started in California, and this slide and everything was here before I started with the program. But we had an executive director named Paul Capitelli. Paul had been a sheriff's captain that ran one of the best emergency vehicle operation courses in California, including the CHP Academy. And when he became the executive director for California Post, which is our peace officer stands in training, he had a mission. He wanted to lower the number of cops in the United States that got killed in automobile-related collisions. So he got a whole bunch of us. I was an academy director at the time. I commanded the CHP Academy. He got academics. He got people from FLETC, all these criminal justice programs, the top PhDs in the nation. He got EVOC operators. He got a group of about 36 people, and we started to work within our disciplines and together, eventually producing a volume of all the factors that go into why cops crash, from fatigue, training, discipline, every kind of factor you can imagine. And out of that effort, one night, two men, Travis Yates, who's now major with Tulsa, Oklahoma PD, and Dale Stockton, who's a retired captain with Carlsbad, California Police, down in Southern California. They're two amazing thinkers, and they were talking about this over dinner in a group, and they said, you know, if we could just get cops to do or not do a couple of things, not just about automobiles, but just in general, it would probably drive down the number of line of duty deaths. Because we all know that there's a certain number of deaths that we would probably, if I could survey all 500 of us, a strong majority would say that was not a preventable death. That it was just the officer's time. There's nothing that officer could have done. The officer was on duty, doing their duty, and there was nothing that could have been done to cause them to be safer. There's job hazard. And then if we were honest, we could probably take a look at some, and we would say there's a level of preventability. There's one or more things the officer could have done different, not for the purpose of criticizing the officer, but a purpose of saving future officers. That if we could put the odds more in the officer's favor, maybe that fatal incident becomes an injury incident, or maybe even a non-incident. So they literally wrote these things on a napkin, which is what you see on here. They came back to this group of experts, and they showed it to us, and it was like this massive light bulb came on. And while we were doing this, someone came into the room, someone came into the room, and they had a crestfallen face. They announced that one of our local officers in California, just while we were meeting, had just been killed in line of duty. He responded to a code 3 call. He was a canine officer. It was a hot call robbery. He didn't realize the roadway was slightly wet. He went into a side skid, hit a pole, and he was not properly restrained, and he was gone. And we sat in that room, and we were already pretty motivated before, but it was a punch and a motivation to do this. So out of that effort and out of that motivation came what became the Below 100 campaign. And essentially, these are a group of officers that go around the United States. They teach these 5 tenets, and the way they teach it is to cop, and they teach it by showing car cam videos, body cam videos of actual things that are occurring that support and illustrate this. So it's a cop-to-cop type of an effort. It's a 4-hour class, and it makes a huge impact because of the way that it's taught. The 5 tenets are really simple. Wear your belt. What are we talking about there? The seat belt. Because you find that in a car crash, if you're restrained, your chances of fewer injuries or survival go way up. Why don't cops wear their belt? Why is it? You all know. Why don't cops wear the seatbelt? They're afraid of getting trapped behind the wheel, getting shot, ambushed, and so on and so forth. So that's pulling on them. It's inconvenient. Your equipment gets caught. I mean, there's all these practical reasons, and I don't want to be trapped in there if something happens. Particularly if I'm under gunfire, I don't want to be, locked in with my belt. But we find that in many, many crashes, if the officer would have been wearing the belt, that would have substantially mitigated the injury and saved the life. The second is wear the vest. What's the vest? What are we talking about there? Okay, my brother's doing this, yeah. So we got body armor, right? So that kind of maybe goes without saying, body armor. When this came about, fewer officers were wearing body armor. That's being kind of generationally accepted. And then the other kind is the safety vest. Now, I came from the agency, of course, CHP with Ponch and John and all that. You ever see that Chip show? Okay, I've met both those characters. In fact, Eric Estrada I've met many, many, many times, and he is a true character. Larry Wilcox is more normal, but you can imagine with the history and the culture and the tradition of the CHP, when they said, hey, the feds are going to make you guys wear this reflective vest, did that go over well? No, and it doesn't go over well with a lot of officers because I'm a target, I don't look great, and so on. Well, we did a lot of work and we showed during these videos how invisible you are to traffic and other people, and how that's actually much more hazardous to your health and your safety than wearing the vest. So that's another component. The fourth is what's important now, which is the idea that when you are, whatever you're doing, you're on a traffic stop, you're going to a DV call, you're approaching a building, whatever it is, focus on what is in front of you now. Don't be distracted by your bad boss, something that's going on at home, when you're going to get off shift, all these different things that can enter into your mind, the last call. Because what's important now is to focus. So when you're driving, for example, in a pursuit or something, don't be thinking about other things, focus on your driving. And the final thing is complacency kills. And any cop that's been on a while, and you've done the same thing over and over and over again, complacency becomes your enemy. We always say in my agency, there's no such thing as a routine traffic stop. Because as soon as you say, oh, it's another routine stop, you're opening yourself up to a lot of risk, because you may have done 1,000 that look just like each other. It's the 1,001 that bite you. So by illustrating these 5 principles and communicating in such a powerful way, we rolled this out, and we started seeing, as we rolled this out around the nation, we were getting stories from cops who said that class literally saved my life, and we started to see a drop in line of duty deaths for the first couple of years.